Ladies and gentlemen, there is a force more commanding than looks, louder than charm, and stronger than money. It is the power of the man who thinks for himself, walks alone if he must, and embodies truths so cold, so sharp, that they slice through the illusions of the modern world. The kind of man women don't just desire, they fear losing, not because he manipulates, but because he is utterly unshaken by their games. He has learned 5 truths, 5 Machiavellian truths, that turn him from just another name in her phone into the standard she never knew she needed, and now can't forget. The first truth, scarcity is power. The modern man has been taught to be endlessly available, ever responding, consistently proving his worth. But nothing of value is always accessible. When gold is everywhere, it becomes dust. But when a man becomes rare, when he stops overtexting, when he walks away instead of pleading, when he chooses solitude over shallow validation, he becomes scarce, and that scarcity is intoxicating. When you stop showing up to every emotional circus, when you're no longer a participant in the game of desperate approval, her mind will not relax in your absence. It will obsess. A man who makes himself rare becomes a man impossible to forget. The second truth, never out-emote a woman. The moment you become the more emotional participant, you forfeit your frame. Passion is fine, but neediness, that's lethal. A Machiavellian mind understands that excessive displays of insecurity, of longing, of emotional collapse only serve to repel. When a woman senses that you can't breathe without her, she no longer sees a man, she sees a pet. The man she fears losing is the one who has emotions under control, who remains a mystery even in conflict. She cannot read him fully, she cannot predict him, and in that unpredictability her desire burns. Control your emotions, or become controlled. The third truth, indifference is magnetic. When you need someone to stay, they feel free to leave. When you can walk away without flinching, they hesitate to go. Indifference is not cruelty, it's clarity. It says, I choose you, but I don't need you. I enjoy you, but I do not worship you. This removes all power she might attempt to leverage through withholding, testing, or playing games. She cannot manipulate what she cannot shake. Indifference is not passive, it is active control. When you live like your life is already full, with purpose, with goals, with discipline, your energy says, I am already whole. That wholeness is rare, and rarity makes people panic. The fourth truth, always be the prize. From childhood, men are conditioned to prove themselves, but the Machiavellian mind reverses the frame. It says, I am the reward. The house is not the prize, the car is not the prize, the smile you get from her when you agree to anything, not the prize. You are the prize, your time, your focus, your name attached to hers, your masculine energy that builds, protects, and commands. But when you beg, when you chase, when you shrink yourself to fit someone else's image, you become common. She cannot fear losing what is already in her pocket. But when you present yourself as the prize, and more importantly, live like one, then suddenly the fear of loss becomes hers, not yours. The fifth truth, never explain dominance, demonstrate it. The world is loud with men who say, I'm an alpha, I'm high value, I'm not like the others. Yet words are wind. She will not believe what you say. She believes what you do. The Machiavellian man doesn't announce. He acts. He doesn't argue over respect. He commands it with silence, action, and boundary. He doesn't negotiate his standards. He enforces them by living them. When a woman sees a man whose presence is his argument, whose tone is calm but final, whose standards are unapologetically kept, her internal world adjusts. She sees in him something ancient, something timeless. Something not to be played with. She knows, this is not a man I can replace. This is a man I can lose, and that thought, that single terrifying idea, is what awakens her deepest respect. These 5 truths are not tricks. They are not pick-up tactics or psychological gimmicks. They are a way of being. They require strength, solitude, and sometimes a kind of coldness the world will not understand, but the man who lives them becomes unforgettable. Not because he tries to be, but because he is, because he has mastered himself, and a man who masters himself is the only kind of man a woman fears losing, not because he's cruel, not because he's flashy, but because his value is so high, she knows no one else compares.